over the years. And one of her newsletters came. One of the newsletters had an interesting piece on it. I sort of borrowed it and put it on the back of your bulletin if you'd like to look at that. The top of the back page says, people, organizations, situations, or experiences of the past or present that I now forgive. And this is after Catherine Ponder. Right below that it says, list. I will tell you my response when I got that newsletter. I thought, Catherine, there are certainly people, organizations, situations, or experiences that deserve my negative thoughts about them. And you want me to forgive? Notice that after listing them, there's an affirmation. I fully and freely forgive. I loose you and let you go to your good quickly and in peace. All is cleared up between us now and forever. Whoops. I started thinking, do they really deserve to be forgiven? I'm sure that I would tell you there were some I didn't think did. And then you know how things pop up. Sometimes the Bible will fall off a shelf and open to just the right passage, or in passing you'll stop on a page and read something that you had no intention of looking for. And that happened, because not long after this, and my thoughts about this, those years ago, I was looking through the Bible and hit right upon a quotation of Jesus that in that moment I didn't want to hear. Agree with thine adversary quickly. Now, when I have an adversary, I will tell you that mostly my first thought is not agreeing with them. Trying to figure out if it's time to use the nuclear option or not. But that agreeing with an adversary, oh, Jesus, did you have to make it so hard? Then I came across a quotation from one of my favorites, Imelda Shanklin. That's on the back of your bulletin too. Father, forgive me for expecting from the human what only comes from the divine. We're in process as human beings. I used to say years ago, and you'll probably think it's flippant, but you can tell that you're still in process. You're a human being, and you have not reached that place of spiritual perfection. And how did I say you could tell? See if you still have a navel. And remember silly putty? That doesn't work to fill it in. As long as we're in this human experience, we have some shortcomings. All of us. Jesus, at one of the most difficult Friday afternoons of his life, one of the last remarks he made was forgiveness. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Why do people do what they do? They don't know what they're doing. They don't understand the repercussions. They don't understand that when we throw negativity at another, who's the first one to experience it? We are, because it lives in us. Any negative thought I want to put out towards anyone or any organization or any situation or experience, first place it appears is in my own consciousness. It's amazing, and some of my past experiences. Well, I can think back to someone, 1961. Pretty much I've let this one go, okay? Pretty much. But back in 1961, I remember being so angry. And for many years, I'd think of the situation and the individual, and I'd burn. What do you think this person was experiencing? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm burning. The person's living their life. Who knows? Maybe perfectly happy, content. But not at all. If you said, hey, do you remember Greg Nedler? And that person would say, huh? Who? When we hold, it was Emmett Fox who made this wonderful statement. It was another one of those statements, like this one from Catherine Ponder that I didn't care so much for the first time. This one from Emmett Fox I didn't care so much for either. He said, when you hold enmity for another, all that anger, resentment, negativity, we bind ourselves as with chains of steel to that person. Oh my. If I feel that negative about the person, do you think I want to be bound to them as with chains of steel? I want to be on the other side of the continent. And it is we who bind ourselves in our thought, in our attitudes towards these people, organizations, situations, and experiences. You can resent any one of those, or all of them. You can have kind of hateful thoughts about any of them, or all of them. But then Jesus comes along and says, a man's foes are those of his own household. Now, don't jump to conclusions. This doesn't mean your children or your husband or wife or mother-in-law. Household is consciousness, what's going on inside. The things that are our own enemies are our own thoughts. We're punishing ourselves. Once I realized that, hey, Catherine Ponder, this is a super idea, because I do this for whom? I forgive for me. I'm cutting those chains of steel. I'm no longer going to burn. And you wonder why we say hell is hot? And Jesus said, Son of Man has the power to forgive sin. Son of Man is an idiom, meaning human being. We have the ability to let it go. And to let it go because it exists within us. And it's affecting us. So Catherine's suggesting we let things go. Oh, well, that was a piece of freedom. Let me tell you, the first time I finally decided to work with this list. May I have another sheet of paper, please? Well, in 2-3 weeks, you can build up quite a list now, over a number of years. 1961 was on that list, by the way. Yeah. I don't have animosity against that individual, I realize, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I think of Cinderella. Now you're thinking of the ball gown and the big pumpkin coach, but I'm thinking of my St. Bernard. Sometimes walking the dog, I heard such things as I'd call her, Cinderella. Oh, so what are you, the fairy godmother? She was 135, 138 pounds of absolute love. As intelligent as most of my friends. Loyal, totally. And we had a great 10 and a half years together. She was pretty amazing. Sometimes she'd do things and know not what she did. And I will tell you that sometimes my first impulse was to take it personally. Oh, she's doing that to me. And then I realized the love, the loyalty, and that she didn't know. She didn't know always what I expected. She didn't know how humans did things always. She knew how she did things. And I guess she thought she'd train me. Father, forgive me for expecting from the human what only comes from the divine. Only God is perfect. Jesus said, call no man perfect. There's only one who is perfect. It is our Father in heaven. But all that stuff that causes us to burn, that causes the resentment and anxiety and a variety of things, they're inside us. And it is for us to let it go. Now, I have a quotation I also borrowed from Catherine Ponder. Many people are never permitted prosperity, no matter what else they do, because they have not done this. Until they forgive, their prosperity does not come. Prosperity, peace, health, they're all affected by these inner states, by these enemies within. So, folks, I put this on the back of the bulletin, knowing that, and I really knew this, you'd want to take this home. And you'd want to make a list. Check it twice. Look at each one. And find a way to be able to use that affirmation, I fully and freely forgive. I loose you and let you go to your good quickly and in peace. All is cleared up between us now and forever. And you do this because it's in your best interest. Your interest in being free and being happy. What was that old expression? Would you rather be happy or right? I'd rather be happy. And my feelings of right about that person being a so-and-so or whatever. There are a lot of names I could use. I'm not right. Because what are they? They are no different than I. That same Christ Spirit is within them. They come from the same source. And they're as much God's child as any one of us. It's for one of us to recognize that. And if I want to be free, it's going to be me. Because I'm going to loose me and let me go so I can fly. So now as we're looking at Thanksgiving, how easy is it to give thanks when you're all bound up in negativity about things, about people or situations? Free yourself and then see how much there is to truly be thankful for.